Namo Buddhaya. Good evening, everyone. Greetings to Senior Bhikkhuni, Sobhana, and much metta to my junior Bhikkhunis, Samaneris, and all lay devotees here. So today we have Ayya Sobhana with us as a guest today, and I would like to give a brief introduction. And first, I would like to give my brief introduction. I'm a Bhikkhuni Vandana from India, and I'm staying at Dhamma for the Vasa. So now I would like to introduce Ayya Sobhana. Ayya Sobhana is a Theri, a senior American Bhikkhuni, trained in the Theravada tradition, Harvard graduated. She has practiced under the guidance of renowned meditation master Bhante Henepola Gunaratana since 1989. And she went forth into monastic life as a seminary in 2003 at Bhavana Society of West Virginia. And she got high ordination as a bhikkhuni in Sri Lanka in 2006. She integrates deep meditation practice with ethical living and compassionate relationship as a part of the Eightfold Noble Path. Ayya Sobhana plays a key role in developing Aranya Bodhi Hermitage in California Monastery. Respected teacher of frequent Acharini for Bhikkhuni ordinations. She has led retreats across the US and continues to offer teachings online in 2025. She will spend the Vasa at Empty Cloud Monastery while continuing to offer monthly teachings through Dhamma. So now I would like to invite Ayya Sobhana to lead the program. And our today's theme is the Spectrum of Samadhi. So please, Ayya, take the lead.
Good. Thank you very much.
Okay, we would like to pay our respect.
Very good.
And our greetings. We might not be able to stay on the camera the whole time because our poor internet signal, but we wanted to let you know we're here, and we might go over to the YouTube to watch if our signal is not good enough. But we wanted to greet you and pay our respects and say we're very happy to have you back with us teaching.
Okay, thank you. Sambai Buddha Bala Bhatta Pachikananta Yambalam Avahantanam Chate Jena Vakampantami Sabaso Sadhu Sadhu.
Greetings and well wishes also from Ayya Tataloka. Glad to have you back teaching.
Okay.
Pat, I think we'll turn off the camera just to save on the bandwidth.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm not the no longer. I've retired from the position as the vice abbess of Dhamma, so that's was misstated earlier. I'm now the senior monastic present at the Empty Cloud Monastery here in New Jersey, and I was prepared for the Wabudanasoran to come, but I see they're not here, so we'll just go ahead with the regular program. Dear friends, we can begin by paying respects to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. The theme that I had thought of speaking about tonight is called the Spectrum of Samādhi, which is the middle portion of the threefold training. The training is ethics, samadhi or meditation, and wisdom. Samadhi is typically thought of as the four jhanas. But tonight we might not have enough time to practice jhana. So it will be good to think of practicing the factors which are supporting samadhi, namely the mindfulness and the purification of the mind. So there's my invitation to you for the meditation part of tonight's program. We could begin by, say, 30 minutes of meditation, and then I'll give some talk, and then we can have some discussion. So welcome to come to an upright and balanced posture, setting the body in a way that you can be pretty still for 30 minutes without moving and shifting around and without too much pain. If in a chair, it's best to have the back upright if you can. Aware of the reason for meditation, letting go of any agitation or disturbance from today, letting go of any worries or desires about tomorrow, just making a resolution for 30 minutes to stay as much as possible in the here and now, keeping the mind connected with the sensations coming through the body in this present moment, aware of the mental factors that are involved in this present moment, but as much as possible, using that anchor to the body to avoid getting lost in thoughts about things that are far away. So aware of this physical body. Aware of the posture on the chair or the cushion. Aware of the touching sensations of the seat pressing on the chair or the cushion, the hands touching, clothes touching the skin, sensations inside the body. relaxing the body. Relaxing the face, letting the shoulders drop, making the belly soft, letting the hips and legs relax. Keeping just enough energy to stay upright. Content with the way it is right now. Whether the touching is pleasant or not pleasant, just content to be with it. Directing awareness to the body and the touching sensations. Letting awareness rest on the body, just like the body is resting on the seat. Letting awareness connect to the body sensations and rest there. Letting awareness be very relaxed with just enough energy to stay connected. And if the movement of breath is noticeable, letting the breath come to the center. Noticing the sensation of breath. Wherever it's noticeable and easy to notice. At the nostrils or on the lip, in the throat, at the chest, in the belly, wherever the breath is noticeable. From the place where the breath is most noticeable, expanding the awareness to where it's less noticeable. Gently expanding awareness. The entire torso is breathing. The oxygenated blood brings the breath to every part of the body. Seeing the whole body breathing. Every cell receiving oxygen. Every cell of the body is breathing in and breathing out. Letting go of everything except breath. Only breathing in, only breathing out. And drawing near to the end of this brief sit, aware of the state of mind. Bright or dull. Connected to the breath or not. And aware of the feeling right now, what it's like. Aware of the touch of breath in the body. And gently emerging from this meditation. Yes. Move the body a little bit to make you freshen up. Later on this week, on Friday at 8 o'clock in New Jersey time, which is 5 o'clock in California time, I'll be giving a sutta report about number 10 in the Digha Nikaya, which is called the Subhasutta. Number 10 in the Digha Nikaya, Subhasutta. If you want to see that program, you can tune in by looking up Buddhist Insights at Empty Cloud and their YouTube channel. This sutta gives what Ajahn Sujato translate as the three parts of the training as this spectrum of noble ethics, immersion, and wisdom. That would be, in Pali, the word is khanda, which is an aggregate. That's a group or a bunch or a pile of things. So the sila khanda, all of the things that are part of sila, the samadhi khanda, all the things that are part of samadhi, and the panya khanda, everything that's part of panya. I thought tonight of just focusing in on the samadhi khanda, the middle part of the training, which is about meditation. To put it into perspective, in Majjhima 44, this is the Chula Vedala Sutta. Chula Vedala Sutta, the Arahant Bhikkhuni Dhammadina is answering questions from her former husband. And he asks about the connection between the training and the Noble Eightfold Path. And she replies that those three aggregates of sila, samadhi, and panya, ethics, immersion, and wisdom, are not included in the Noble Eightfold Path, but rather the Noble Eightfold Path is included in the three aggregates. And the meaning of that is that the three aggregates, the training is bigger than the Noble Eightfold Path, because the three aggregates include the kind of wisdom which is when you know that the taints have been destroyed, that there's no more coming to birth in this life, and that one has obtained complete freedom. The liberation of an arahant is part of the three trainings, but that's not part of the Eightfold Path. When you practice the Eightfold Path, the path brings you up to the gateway, the doorway to enlightenment. And then from there, you just have to step over the line to enlightenment. And then in just one or two places, they listed a different list is called the Tenfold Path, which is the Eightfold Path. And then the ninth element is the liberation. And the 10th element is the knowledge of liberation. Okay, so those are all part of this threefold training. And then the kanda of noble virtue, Bhikkhuni Dhammadina said, includes right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And then the aggregate or the kanda, the group of noble concentration, that's the samadhi. You could call it noble immersion. Includes the right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Right effort does not mean that you're really trying hard. Right effort means that you're intelligent enough to be able to notice the factors in the mind and to distinguish between those which are beneficial and good that lead to the end of suffering, and those factors that are not beneficial, which are bad and which perpetuate suffering. And then the right effort is getting the skill to have a little bit of start, to have some mastery over choosing what states of mind you welcome and cultivate and develop, and which states of mind you don't welcome, you try to avoid. And if they come up, you denourish them and abandon them. So that's what the right effort is. And then the right mindfulness is usually described in terms of being able to direct awareness to the body, the feelings, the states of mind, and aspects of the Dhamma. Or you could say that right mindfulness is remembering to be present, remembering to be aware, and then the right wisdom. In brief, it's the to fully understand the Four Noble Truths. And when you fully understand it, then you will have completed your journey. Now, here's another description, this overview of how the three trainings fits together. I got this from a text which is part of the Khuddaka Nikaya, which is called the Pitaka. In English, it's called the Pitaka Disclosure. If you wanted to look it up in Sutta Central, it's abbreviated as PE in the Sutta Central system. So in PE 6, so this is a canonical text. It's late. It's not universally accepted as being part of the Pali Canon, but in the Burmese tradition, it is accepted as canonical. And it's provides guidelines for how to read and interpret the text of the suttas. And what it has to say about the three trainings is this. When a devotee is steady in the virtue category, he does not assume unprofitable hate. He eradicates the underlying tendency to hate. He extracts the barb of hate. When he studied in the Samadhi category, the meditation category, he does not assume unprofitable greed. He eradicates the underlying tendency to lust. He extracts the barb of greed. And when he is steady in the wisdom category, he does not assume unprofitable delusion. He eradicates the underlying tendency to ignorance. He extracts the barb of delusion and view. This is quite a different way that I have not typically heard Dhamma teachers speaking about the three trainings. And I'm bringing it to you because it's very interesting. This is a different way of thinking about it. When you examine your sila and try to become a deeper practitioner of sila, of morality, can you see that this overcomes hatred? Can you see that a painful feeling might be the major trigger for most of the mistakes a person can make with their sila? And that if you overcome those reactions to painful feelings, and if you fully are practicing the Brahma Viharas of kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity, that then your sila will become intuitive, bright, perfected, not legalistic, and not done in a way which is punitive, but in a way which is truly the complete manifestation of love, of kindness. And then examining all the different parts of meditation. What happens when we think of it as being to overcome greed? Now, it's stated, we've seen this many times, also who've read the text or recited the Eightfold Path many times when they give the description of samadhi, being secluded from sensual desire, secluded from unwholesome states of mind, one enters and dwells in the first jhana. So that seclusion from sensual desire is stated right there. But if we would consider that the weakness for pleasant feeling, now, you know that a lot of times people do immoral things because they're seeking pleasure, right? They can drink and gamble and play around and do all those things, and they think that they're doing it for pleasure. But a lot of times the pleasure pain roller coaster is very connected. So actually they think they're getting pleasure, but really they're just running away from pain. running away from fear, running away from anxiety, running away from resentment by covering it up with pleasure. But even if one has overcome that, then there's a further kind of like a danger of, I would call it like the spending your life in la la land, going to daydreams, or learning how to practice wrong mindfulness, wrong samadhi, being able to get into the blissful aspect of meditation without being grounded in wisdom and without being grounded in ethics, without being grounded in basic right view, and then feeling like a god. Now you've, transcended the world, and it's so great, it's so beautiful, and then one can actually become addicted to wrong samadhi. That's a kind of like a addiction to pleasure, which is its own thing. And to consider that the steps we do of the right mindfulness and right effort, and the things we do to set up the factors to be able to enter into deeper samadhi, have this common factor of overcoming greed. It's a different way of looking at it. And then I think it could be kind of intuitive to say that wisdom overcomes delusion. I think I might take this threefold training as a theme for myself for the rest of this Vasa time. So if you catch any more of my talks later on this, over the next couple of months, you may hear more about this. But I want to come now to what was said in the Asubha Sutta about the spectrum of samadhi, because he includes the aspects of the training path which are setting like the proximate cause or the condition for being able to get into meditation. The first one is called sense restraint. When one sees a sight with the eyes, don't get caught up in the features and details. If the faculty of sight was left unrestrained, bad, unskillful qualities of covetousness and displeasure could become overwhelming. For that reason, you practice restraint regarding sight. And now, it doesn't mean that you make yours put on a blindfold, but that one mindfully is aware of the effect on the heart and the psychology of the things that we look at, avoiding unnecessary stimulation, avoiding going out to watch things that arouse greed and anger, or at least taking care so that if you are choosing to look at the news, to look at literature and poetry, to listen to music, to go online at Amazon.com and go shopping for things and look at all the things that they're offering you. What is getting stirred up in you? And to what extent are you able to maintain your detachment and not allow greed and aversion to become stirred up when you see those things? That's where the restraint of the senses really comes in. It's not necessarily avoiding, but it does mean keeping that separation. And if you're not able to keep that separation, it would be better to avoid looking at those things. And likewise, with all of the faculties of the senses and including with the mind, what you choose to think about. So if you choose to think, oh, I see the Wapudonason is here. I didn't see you arrive. I apologize so much because I didn't, excuse me for this diversion. I apologize to the meditators at the Wat. It's been my practice to open on those Tuesdays with the chanting. And I just wasn't sure that whether the Wat was going to come in. What I think I may do is go ahead with the regular program up until 8:30 your time. And then at the very end of the program, we can recite a little puja, including the confirmation of the precepts. So then I won't neglect the members of the Wat Pujana Sangha. Okay, so this is sense restraint, and this is part of samadhi. It's part of meditation. Any questions about that? Hands up if you have a question. Okay. The next factor is called sati sampajana. Usually that's translated as mindfulness and clear comprehension. Bhante Sujata translated as situational awareness. This is expressed as the kind of mindfulness that you keep with you as you go through the activities of the day. So you act with clear awareness when going out and coming back, looking ahead and to the side, bending and extending the limbs, putting on your robe, picking up your bowl and robes. That's when the monastic equivalent of going to work, going to the office. Instead of going to the office, we go and hike 5 or 6 miles to the village to look for alms. Eating, drinking, chewing, tasting, urinating, defecating, walking, standing, sitting, sleeping, speaking, keeping silent, always being mindful and clear in all of these situations. This is explained in the commentary as understanding the purpose. It's explained in the Visuddhimagga as for each thing that you do, you know why you're doing it. What's the purpose? You've taken a second to consider whether it's suitable or not. In other words, if I wanted to have a personal conversation with one of you, that might be a good thing to do, but this is not the right time for that conversation. So it's a good purpose, but it's not suitable for that moment. Understanding the domain which is keeping awareness directed inwardly so that you don't get lost in thinking about having your awareness chasing after all of the many hundreds of things out there. but you're keeping the awareness inwardly directed. If it's the 4 foundations, so you're aware of the body, the feelings, the state of mind, and what Dhamma is activated at that time. And then the 4th point of the this sampajana, this clear comprehension, is comprehension of reality. Knowing that it's all impermanent and that there's no self, whatever you do. So now this is coming back to the other definition of mindfulness. You know, mindfulness is sati, is related to the verb sarati, which means to remember. And one part of the definition of mindfulness, it's not as it's described sometimes in modern secular teaching about mindfulness. They say mindfulness is developing this non-judgmental awareness that it just accepts whatever comes into your experience. But in the Buddhist tradition, this aspect of the mindfulness of remembering, you remember to be present, you remember to be awake, you stay awake and present all day long from morning till night, from when you get out of bed in the morning, all through the necessary activities of the day, and that sets you up for being able to have success when you sit down for the formal meditation practice. Questions? Comments? If you give yourself a score from 0 to 100, to what extent did you keep that mindfulness and situational awareness all day long? Interesting to think about it and see, is it possible to do better? Is it possible to remember? You know, my friend Bhante Rahula from the Bhavana Society, who's used to teach about the minute of mindfulness. He suggested having a timer that would beep once an hour or once every half hour. And each time it beeps, you just stop whatever you're doing and just breathe and just take a minute to stop the activity and be mindful. At the Thich Nhat Hanh centers, when they have retreats, even like during the work period, very frequently they have someone ring the bell. It's the bell of mindfulness. They ring the bell, and then everybody who's in the middle of cooking and cleaning and doing all their chores during the work period, they put down what they're doing and they stand and breathe and come back to mindfulness. So this is an alternative if you can't be mindful continuously, if you could be mindful frequently. If you could be mindful each time you get a notification on your computer, take that as your bell of mindfulness. Or each time you go to answer an email, if you're so old-fashioned that you're still doing emails, take that as your bell of mindfulness and just breathe and come back to mindfulness before. And then if you learned those 4 points, think, what am I doing? Why is this the right time and place? Have I got that? Am I mindful? It's all impermanent. It's not personal. It's not me and not mine. And just, if you could train yourself to remember that 10 times a day, even if you could remember that 10 times a day, that might be a big advance. if you could remember it 20, 30, 40 times a day, it would be a bigger advance. So that's the mindfulness and the true comprehension. Then the next factor of this in this particular sutta is contentment. I hope you could see how, if you said that meditation is for the purpose of overcoming greed, how contentment is directly addressed to the problem of greed. Because what does greed do? Greed is continuously on the move. Greed is continuously like not satisfied with this branch and reaching over to the next branch, and then reaching to the next branch, and then going to the next thing. That's what greed does, is it's always wanting to go on to the next thing, always getting tired with, so that the experience of impermanence, of course, that is the nature of impermanence, that, it's one thing after another. But when you're experiencing impermanence filled with greed, then whatever is disappearing and going into the past is painful. And then whatever you're reaching through is like the carrot and the stick. It's the carrot that is dangling in front of you, and you think that that carrot is going to be pleasurable. And the pleasure you get is of anticipation that you're finally going to catch that carrot. So this is defeated by contentment. It's described in the sutta in terms of a monastic being content with the robes to look after the body, so to look after the belly. Wherever they go, they set out taking only these things. They're like a bird. Wherever it flies, the wings are its only burden. So that's the description of contentment. Then the next factor, this is factor number 4 in meditation, giving up the hindrances. The 5 hindrances, they give up covetousness for the world. They cleanse the mind of covetousness. This greed, this Pali word abhijja is always translated as covetousness, but as I understand in the Bible, to covet something is to want something that doesn't belong to you. And so it's a kind of like a specialized application. If you had your great wisdom and you realize not self, and you realize that whatever it is not mine, then you know that nothing belongs to you. And so whatever you desire and want to appropriate, it's like coveting something that doesn't belong to you. So the sense restraint is the earlier practice that helps to curb that greed. And in this giving up this hindrance completely, then it's fully abandoned. So that will be an aspect also of the right effort, that it's one of the unwholesome states that's abandoned. Then giving up ill will and malevolence, they meditate with the mind rid of that, rid of ill will, full of compassion for all living beings, cleansing the mind of ill will. And that is a practice of right effort, an aspect of right effort. It's an aspect of the Brahma Vihara practice, which is the other major gateway to Samma Samadhi is through the cultivating boundless loving kindness and the other boundless factors. So that takes you completely away from ill will, and then giving up dullness and drowsiness. Rid of dullness and drowsiness, perceiving light, mindful and aware, cleansing the mind of dullness and drowsiness. So you could say that sati sampajanya, if you were doing that all day long, remembering to be present, remembering to be aware, frequently pausing, and then making the awareness bright and clear, that's setting one up to be able to come to meditation free of dullness and drowsiness. I'd say the evil twin, or the opposite of that, would be a person who's on the roller coaster. We see this a lot, where people who have not learned how to carry the practice into all the postures throughout the day can experience a tremendous amount of stress and agitation, can be carried away with whatever it is that they're pursuing during the day, exerting so much energy and effort into the various pursuits during the day, both exhausting themselves in the pursuit, and also it's kind of like sometimes when they talk about flow, one gets involved in a project. Let's say you're running, or you're working on a very large spreadsheet, something that requires focus and concentration. And a person, I think they say that when someone is having flow, that they sort of like, they forget themselves and become completely immersed into the project that they're working on. And if this is done, I think that kind of thing can be done with mindfulness, but it can also be done without mindfulness. And it's like working on this heavy, deeply engaging project, and then at the end you sort of wake up and it's like you've been in a blackout. You had no self-awareness at all while you were deeply engaged in that project. And somebody who practices like that, who lives like that, then they can come and sit down on the cushion and fall asleep because they're just so exhausted by the way they live their life. So don't do that. Don't live your life in a way that leads to exhausted. Live your life which is balanced, which keeps the energetic factors in balance, so that you won't be sleepy, and develop the skill of full awareness, which is the opposite of dullness. Giving up restlessness and remorse. They meditate without restlessness and remorse. Their mind is peaceful inside. The mind is peaceful inside, cleansing the mind of restlessness and remorse. So practicing for peace, meditating for peace, experiencing and delighting in the peace of samadhi. Restlessness hankers for the future and is cured by contentment. Remorse digs up the past it's countered by ethical purity. So those preliminary practices can prevent restlessness and remorse from invading meditation. And then during meditation, if these things come up, what I find the most useful is bringing up the idea of causation, saying, you can do this for any negative state of mind. These states arise because of causes and conditions. Because of being a human being, I still have whatever unwholesome tendencies in the mind until I'm an arahant. Those unwholesome tendencies could crop up. It's because of causes and conditions and having taken birth as a human being with this karmic inheritance. And so whatever I don't yet know how to avoid, it's arrived in the mind, here it is. So I can forgive, have compassion, and then release. And with that release and forgiveness, being peaceful towards whatever's happening in the moment within the mind. And that can clear off restlessness and remorse from being a hindrance that blocks meditation. And then the last of the 5 hindrances, giving up doubt. They meditate, having gone beyond doubt, not undecided about what are the skillful qualities, cleansing the mind of doubt. The amount of faith that you need is you need to have enough faith or enough confidence to be able to practice. So if for somebody who's a beginner, just having enough trust to be willing to attempt to sit on the cushion and watch the breath for 30 minutes is really great. It's really an accomplishment. It's a wonderful thing that they were willing to trust the process just to go into the meditation procedure. And then the further along you go, if you have the aspiration to wake up, you can see that the amount that's being asked is more, and the amount of confidence you need to do the work is greater. It says we would probably be here because we've already gained some kind of faith or confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. It's said that one of the approximate causes or the condition for doubt, for the skeptical doubt, is called this Ayya Sobhana Theri, which would be the unwise attention, which does not see experiences as they truly are. It does not see things as how they arise from causes. And it's said that in another sutta, it says that the basic cause is having bad friends. And if you have bad friends, that leads you to listen to untrue Dhamma. And when you listen to untrue Dhamma, then that could give arising to the lack of confidence. And then having the lack of confidence, you would not be able to sustain this wise attention. And if you can't get wise attention, that you won't get your stream entry, you won't wake up. So those are the sutta gives the similes for the 5 hindrances, which I'm not going to speak about tonight, because I'm saving that for next week. And then the sutta goes on, and it speaks about the 4 jhanas. I've not emphasized the 4 jhanas in this talk tonight, because I think we all kind of know it, and we've heard that training before, and we may speak further about that on another occasion. But I wanted to really encourage putting Samma-Samadhi, considering Samma-Samadhi as it relates to the total training, and consider the possibility that the Samma-Samadhi is about transcending greed. And then considering that these 4 preliminary practices of sense restraint, mindfulness and clear comprehension, contentment, and giving up the hindrances, that those are all part of meditation, part of the spectrum of meditation. I shall pause here. I've gone on a little bit long. There's just a few minutes left in the time, but I'm willing to take any questions or comments about the spectrum of meditation. Okay, I'll call on Venerable Vandana Dhamma.
Anjali, so my question was like, you mentioned about bed friend, right? So
Yes.
in the Sangha, not only in the Sangha, but in the lay people also, we say people are practicing Dhamma, and like we discuss the Dhamma, but people are not practicing, just talking. And how to find out that this is like good friend or bad friend? As I know, Buddha have said like, smart enemy is better than a fool friend. So how to find out that the person I'm feeling like, okay, this is my friend, but that is not beneficial for the practice in the Dhamma?
In the sutta that has the part about choosing among different schools, different philosophies, there's a bit about choosing a teacher, and that's sort of an aspect of a good friend, that you would want to evaluate their ethics and see if their ethics are proper, and if their ethics are the same in person as in private as well as in public. You would want to see whether they get carried away by fame. If they're popular, or a leader, or a teacher, or a professor, or somebody who's in a position of power, have they become deluded because of power, or do they have that humility? And does the things that they say make sense? So just applying your rationality to the advice they give. And then if those 3 are satisfied, then you can try out their advice, but you have to look internally to see whether that advice really works for you. A good friend is someone who would point out your faults for you, but it's also somebody who would listen when you speak, and who would not violate a confidence, who can be trusted in that way. Among the monastics, here's something. Monastics are not allowed to discuss with lay people about whether or not they have any noble attainments, whether or not they have stream entry and so forth. But you're a bhikkhuni, and if you are considering your good friends among the monastic sangha, I suggest that you look at what the sutta says are the qualities of a stream winner, and say, well, do they have those qualities? Do they have those beautiful, inspiring, and uplifting qualities? And a friend who's got those qualities is one who would be really worth taking on and taking that person as your Kalyana Mitra, your good friend. I'll call on Maisie.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Ayya, I'm in Singapore. So thanks for your sharing. It brought out a lot of things I would like to share in my own practice and experience. But time is short, so I'll just share one or two from your talk, which is very inspiring. I love that sutta, by the way. And what you shared about samadhi is very interesting, because I have a friend. She can really go into these blissful states and very open awareness, which sometimes we share with each other about our experiences, but yet she has no very little wisdom in the sila and the emotion. So I find it very, very interesting, because for me, I entered the path through wisdom, not samadhi. So I found that interesting. I would like to share. Then secondly, about being mindful, I find that it's very hard. Maybe because I'm working, as you can see, I'm in an office, so I'm in the lay life. I don't find it possible to be mindful 24/7, but even during retreats, I find it hard to be, mindful 24/7. And I found one thing during retreats, what prevents me from being mindful in all the time is actually even thinking of the Dhamma, being passionate about it, right? Wanting to talk about it prevents me from being mindful. That's during retreat. And in the lay life, the mindfulness has expanded and extended thanks to my love of the practice and being in retreats and listening to a lot of them. So yes, expanded to the sense that there's this spacious awareness when activities go on in my life. And of course, there are blind spots. And my biggest blind spot would be anxiety, wanting to suppress the feeling of anxiety. That's my biggest blind spot. But I realize at times when there's mindfulness, that attention is so subtle that in the heart, there is actually a choice that can be made. Do I want to rest in that spaciousness, which is very calming, or do I want to get absorbed into that anxiety that I'm trying to suppress? Then there's that little choice. I don't know how to explain. It's very subtle that sometimes the heart just automatically choose the spacious awareness. Then I don't suppress the anxiety and it goes away. So I just want to share how beautiful mindfulness is. It allows us to make such subtle choices without even being not very conscious of it. I don't know how to explain that. Thank you.
That's a wonderful example of mindfulness, even as you describe how the mind has that moment to make that choice. Like, just to be able to see that moment that's the gain, the benefit that practicing mindfulness gives you. And even if temporarily, because of being overwhelmed by emotions or circumstances, if the mind makes a bad choice or a different choice, then if you've got the habit of mindfulness, you see it. You see it quickly. Or even if emotions come up, you see them coming up. So there really is not, both the perfect and what's not so perfect. It's all excellent target for mindfulness to see them clearly. Thank you so much for that. And I really appreciate the example that you gave of of your friend. We had a nice retreat here with a bhikkhu named Jnana Loka, who had us directly meditating on the text for the whole time. He gives a 15, we didn't have the 15-day course, but he has a 15-day course that's meditating on the text of the suttas. And one comment that he made that really struck me was, he said, samadhi without wisdom is really weak. But samadhi and wisdom together, that's the ticket. I know that we've come to the end of the time. May I take whoever is finished has time to go. Do you mind if I just keep talking or listening? Because I would very much like to hear from Ananaya and Richard. Okay, Ananaya.
Good to see you, Ayya. And also, I wanted to say hi to Midori. It's been a while. Really good to see you and Richard, etc. The thing with just what you said about mindfulness and in your talk, I find that I think that's one of the biggest things for me is that in recognizing that even when I'm not mindful, I really catch it. It's like it's like a shock, almost like, what? Did that actually pop into my head or did it come out of my mouth? It's just like, wow. And so it's, one can get back on track faster with it. But I'm also very curious about this PE6. And I look forward to you explaining that more of how that helps to integrate or helps, give them a greater fullness to understanding or practice. And just very quick, Ajahn Chah in the big book, which has all his teachings, he made it clear that some people naturally have the paramis or whatever, where they can go into jhana with great ease, but they don't have the wisdom. And so they can't take the full advantage and can't develop it fully because they lack wisdom. So they have to, that's something that they have to develop. And for those who enter by the wisdom, more in a wisdom fashion or whatever, and don't, samadhi is not as easy, but they don't need as much because they can work with it and they have a fuller understanding and are able to move into it with some depth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll call on Richard.
Thank you, Ayya. That last section there about doubt, where it talks about understanding skillfulness. The section before that describes everything as, they have noble virtue and etc. Noble mindfulness. So that in this section, they're actually referring to sotapan or above, and that's why it's noble. And that doubt of the 5 hindrances that you're overcoming, it's not doubt about Buddha or the Dharma or the noble Sangha.
Self-doubt.
It's doubt about what is the right practice that I'm supposed to do, and am I capable of doing it?
Yes.
So now you've come to understand what is the correct practice. How do I approach this correctly, skillfully? And now I'm going to utilize that to go into samadhi, like that. Now, others who have not attained to the noble state can also go into samadhi, because there are many different religious groups in India, as an example, that knew how to go into samadhi. Buddha had teachers, who taught him to go all the way up to the formless realms and everything. But they're going in for a different reason. the noble disciple, when they get there and they're accomplishing it, is going in for the reason of attaining the ending of samsara, to attain nibbana. Others are going in to attain various states that they're interpreting as nibbana. They think if they make it to this heavenly state, that's nibbana. If they make it to this formless realm, that's nibbana, like that. Just like the more simpler people think, oh, this body and my health, that's nibbana. That's the very, they're not even doing meditation. They're like, modern health fanatics, right? Eating very healthy and exercising. But in terms of samadhi, there's different motivations. And so that's why when the Buddha, even under his previous teachers, reached as far as neither perception or non-perception, he realized that it wasn't nibbana, because when he would come out of that state, he would still long to go back into it. And that longing is a type of suffering. And he realized, oh, wait a minute, this hasn't eradicated all my suffering. This hasn't ended my problem. And also, he hadn't figured out what would keep him from not taking birth again in some way. Maybe he'll take birth in a formless realm for a while, but he can fall back down from there. So he hadn't cracked the nut. So that's why when he said, well, this can't be nibbana because I'm still subject to samsara, even if it's, a long period of time, I might be in the formless realm. And also the result of this coming and going from these states is to experience pain. I want to go back into that state like that. Anyways, that's my view. I hope you have some time to tell us about how your new life is going. I'm very interested to hear how you're doing. Anyway, thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you, Richard. It's nice to see you. I appreciate that clarification about being not undecided about the skillful qualities. How it is here, it's quite peaceful. I don't have a lot of duties to do apart from teaching and showing up. At this temple, the morning program is 30 minutes of chanting and 90 minutes of meditation. At this temple, they don't do breakfast. We just have one meal. At this temple, they don't give the cheese and chocolate every night, only once a week. At this temple, they don't store food and cook food in the kitchen. They depend on alms food every day of the week. At this temple, on the weekend, on Saturday, there's 30 or 40 people coming in for a program. And on Sunday, there's another 30 or 40 people coming in for another program. So, yeah, I like it a lot here. I'll call in Karina, and I think you maybe have to be the last one, Karina.
Thank you. Yes. Nice to see you, Ayya Sobhana. What I wanted to say was just the appreciation. Everything you've said, I think I'm familiar with for sure, but I'm hearing it in a new way. So for a while now, I've been dealing with sleep issues. And lately, I'm really hooking on to the idea of the sun and using light appropriately. And using light in the morning, for example, to lift my energy, and then using lowering a light, different directionality of light to start calming the nervous system. And it's funny, everything I heard that you were describing really related to this, for me, like having a balanced nervous system, or just balanced energy. That doesn't mean you're like flatline the whole time, but it goes, up and down in a balanced way. I loved hearing the idea of samadhi being a letting go of greed. And at first I was like, oh, is that what I didn't understand at first. And then I realized, oh yes, the way you described it, the greed is very unsettled. you're not satisfied. You're looking for something else. So restless, unsettled. Sorry. Yeah, and then the other aspect that really stuck out, the sati sampajanya, and having that clear situational awareness. And when we don't have that, how it can lead to like almost like a depression, or like a bottoming out of the nervous system, and a sleepiness. Yeah, my partner, for example, can get so focused he forgets to swallow. So I always know he's worked on a project because his voice has changed afterwards. So yeah, so I that's how I heard everything, and I felt like I could place everything in terms of energy, how I balance my energy throughout the day. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's a wonderful report, and I'm glad that you can show us a completely different way to apply these ideas to the aspect of life, which is the center point for your practice right now. So I appreciate that so much. So I would like to. We have 15 more minutes left in the Wapadana Stone format, which goes up to the top of the hour. And I'd like to take this moment to share the screen, if I can figure out how to do that. I'm a co-host. Share. If you have to go, you can go. If you want to worship the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, you can stay. Three times. Araham Samma Sambuddha Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Sabakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savakasangho Sangham Namami. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vindrakarana sampanno sugatolo kavidu anuntaro purisadammasarti saptadeva manusanam buddho bhagavati. Sabakato Bhagavata Dhammo Samditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanayiko Pachat tang veritambo vinyuiti. Subharipanno bhagavato savaka sangho. Uruparipanno bhagavato savaka sangho. Nyayaparipanno bhagavato savaka sangho. Samikkhipatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho. Yaridam chattari purisa yugani atta purisa pungalam. Esa bhagavato savaka sangho. Ahuneyo pahuneyo da kyaneyo anjali karaniyo. Anuntaram punya katang lokasati. Taking the 5 precepts. Please recite this. I'm reciting to give you the pronunciation. Mayang aye visung rakanatayam tisaranena saha panchasilani yachami. Tutiyampi mayang aye visung rakanatayam tisaranena saha panchasilani yachama. Tatiyampi mayang aye visung rakanataya tisaranena saha panchasilani yachama. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, dhammang saranang gacchami, sanghang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kame sumikchachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sura meraya manchapamadhatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sabapapa sakarnam kusala subhasampada sachitta pariyodapanam etang buddhana sasanam. Anantaguna sampanna janete janaka ubho Maihang mata pitunang va padevandami sadaram Etena Sakchavanchena Saraswati Bhavantu Me. Pachiracharya Hunti Gunuttaranusasaka Panyavudikaretete Dinnovare Namamiham Etena Sakchavanchena Otume Jayamangalam Sambe Satta Sukhita Huntu Avera Huntu Ambya Manja Huntu Anika Huntu Sukhi Attanang Pariharantu. Okay, this concludes our Tuesday program. It's a real joy to see everybody, and I will thank you for your good practice and your patient listening tonight.
Thank you, Ayya.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
We bow to our teacher.
Thank you, Ayya.
Good night, Ayya. It's good to see you.
Okay, good night.
Good.
You, Ayya.
Bye, Ayya.